event. As expected, the president, Nicolás Maduro of the ruling Partido Socialista Unido de Venezuela, PSUV, has won re-election in controversial elections held on May 20th. Henri Falcón, the runner-up, has refused to acknowledge the results. Analysis late on May 20th, the National Electoral Council announced the preliminary results. With 93% of votes counted, Mr. Maduro secured re-election with 68% of valid votes, while Mr. Falcón came second with 21%. Javier Bertucci, the third-placed candidate, managed 11% of votes. Mr. Bertucci, an evangelical pastor with no political experience who is named in the Panama Papers, a 2015 data leak on offshore entities, outperformed expectations. His tally demonstrates the lack of enthusiasm for his two main rivals. Participation, at 46%, was exceedingly low, benefiting Mr. Maduro, who is unpopular but whose voters, through a combination of ideological affinity and coercive tactics, are likelier to turn out than those of the opposition. Mr. Falcón was handicapped by voter apathy and the lack of an organized campaign apparatus. He had been denounced by most of the opposition, which boycotted the election, condemning it as fraudulent. Mr. Falcón's refusal to accept the results and his call for a new, fairer, election may bring him closer to the rest of the opposition. However, the possibility of organized protests seems low. The opposition has struggled to mobilize the population, and Mr. Falcón's poor electoral performance does not suggest swelling grassroots support. Mr. Maduro has already called for a national dialogue with Messrs. Falcón and Bertucci. In past experience, the proposal is probably an attempt at dividing the opposition and gaining time. The regime may attempt to convince the defeated candidates to accept some nominal post in the administration as a way of gaining international legitimacy, although they currently seem unlikely to accept. In this environment, and with economic crisis deepening amid hyperinflation, collapsing oil production and asset seizures by creditors triggered by a growing wave of defaults, Mr. Maduro's victory could well prove short-lived. How and when he leaves office, though, will depend not on free and fair elections but on the military and how long its high-ranking members are prepared to keep him in power. Impact on the forecast. We expected Mr. Maduro to win. Amid huge economic pressures, we continue to expect an internal fracture of the PSUV, leading to Mr. Maduro's departure in early 2019, ushering in a new, more pragmatic administration with military participation. Free and fair elections, however, are a long way off.